Howdy and hello. There's 27 support weapons in Helldivers 2, and that can lead a person to ponder the pertinence of their power. I'll be covering exactly that in a tier list for every faction for every support weapon, including the FRV and the mechs. I feel like they're basically support weapons, kind of. We'll begin with the railgun. Against automatons, you can one-shot every single bot up to a tank. Hulks in safe mode, you can take out their visor, but I would recommend folks not using it in the Weenie Hut Junior mode. Put it in unsafe, practice it, it ain't that bad. Trust me. And in doing so, that's where the true power lies, because then you can one-shot gunship engines, take out factory shot or chinny guns in one shot, and for war striders, it's a slightly unsafe shot and then a safe shot, and you take out the joint. That's tough to see from distance, because one of the main downsides for railgun is a lack of zoom on the sight. Makes it tough to snipe stuff, but if you do get things down, you can still take out Hulk visors from Narnia, because the shot has no drop to it whatsoever. I wholeheartedly believe it's S tier for automatons. On Terminids, your time to kill for the heavy units increases by a decent bit. Basic and sport charges now require 2 max charge shots to the face, charger behemoths require 3, and all charges get 1 tapped from the back with a max charge shot if you hit them perpendicularly. And Titans takes 3 max charge shots if you're the host or solo, and it can take 2 if you're incurring the party bug. So I'd say it's around C tier. For Illuminate, it's D tier. You have no scope to snipe the flying overseers, you can take out harvesters decently quick, and something goes for gunships, but you're facing bullet sponge meat bobs and a whole bunch of voteless. There's no reason to really take it. Speargun. It will have a slightly slower time to kill, but makes up for it with its horde clear, utility, and crowd control elements. You can stagger harvesters, take them out in 3 shots to any of their exposed limb areas, and break the horn in 1 shot. Meat bobs. You can pause their charge, they'll resume it shortly afterwards, but they'll be gassed in the meantime and shouldn't track you down as easily. And if you do land a headshot on flying overseers or any overseer, it's a one tap, or you can confuse them if you just hit their body. And voteless will die to the gas. In most cases, the damage seems a bit lower than a regular gas grenade, but still really good against small chaff on factions. Destroy arc spires and take out dropships. I'd say it's around A tier. On the bugs, you can completely stop a charge's charge and one tap it from the back, same way you would with a railgun, a perpendicular shot to the wagon. You can also stop a Bile Titan spew, but the kill time is longer than you may expect. It's around 5 hits to the forehead. And you can take out tons of the Wilbur's, Pouncers, and Hunters with a single tick of the gas, and apply the caustic effect, which is confusion and damage over time. And for Rupture Strain, hit the ground, they erupt from the ground. Utility's still there, taking out all the bug nests with a single hit because it explodes. Take note, it's a great option for the Predator Strain. Very hard word to say for some reason, since now you have a form of CC against an otherwise aggressive subfaction. I'm saying S tier for the boogs. On bots, you maintain the ability to one-tap Hulks to the visor. Bear in mind there is drop to your shot, making it tough to land from distance, but if you miss the visor and hit them at all, they get concussed and you have a second shot that's pretty easy to land. They don't turn too far when they get confused. But they do turn enough to miss you though. Take out gunships in 2 shots. War Striders will get stunned, staggered. If they're shooting at you, you can interrupt that and go for the joint. Take them out in 3 hits. I wouldn't really go for breaking their actual turrets. That takes either 2 or 3 shots. It's a waste. Just go for the joint best you can. When a bot drop's happening, shoot the ground and you'll confuse everything aside from a tank, factory strider, and war strider. And you'll be killing Billy Bobs and decently damaging devastators. Easily S tier for the bots. Sterilizer. If the gas and caustic effect are so good, this thing must be too, right? Nope. D tier versus every faction, brother. It has nothing unique aside from simply shoot the caustic effect onto enemies. It doesn't last longer, doesn't create a gas cloud, doesn't do more damage, and it's a support weapon. Why waste a slot there? Can you win missions with it in your inventory? Yes. Does that matter? No. It also doesn't apply to any enemies that regular gas doesn't. You can't gas a Bile Titan, Factory Strider, none of that stuff. HMG. If you're wearing peak physique, you don't get a War Strider seed, and you use it like a marksman rifle, it's fun and effective. One-shotting Billy Bobs, Devastators in the head, and 4-shotting Hulks. You can spray and pray and still get decent value on Hulks, and go for the midsection on basic Devastators and Berserkers, but you will be using a lot of ammo, and you'll then begin to notice the pretty slow reload speed that you could wear Siege Rated to improve, but then you lose the ergonomics buff from peak physique. I'm thinking B tier. on the bugs, it doesn't stand out in any real capacity. You can kill small units quickly if you go for headshots, but it's ergonomically in debt. So good luck with that if you're not wearing peak physique. For the medium units, if they're not facing you, it's tough to land consistent headshots. And on elites and heavies, it's a lot of bullets. You're going to need more bullets, my good sir. I'd say it's around C tier. Versus squids, it's roughly the same issue, but it gets worse in certain aspects. On bootless, it's a better time. You can one-shot them to the jondals. They get cut in half. They bleed out. They get slow. That's good. But when you're facing meat bobs, they're just bullet sponges. No meaningful weak spot. You're just shooting it until it dies. You don't have too much ammo or reserves. That's not particularly a great thing, for the HMG at least. And you can kill gunships. You can kill harvesters. But it just doesn't do it that great in the grand scheme of things. I'm going to say D tier. Solo silo. Bunch of folks don't like it because you can't destroy stratagem jammers and detector towers, but I don't think it matters. It does so much work against factory striders, taking out objectives that are decently condensed. I need to stress just how good it is on factory striders. It can kill 3 in a single hit, maybe 4 or 5 if they're all close enough. It can destroy the bunker mission objective, and it inflates your kill count, giving you a lot higher numbers than it actually killed, making you look a lot cooler in front of your homies. I'm saying S tier brother. For bugs, D tier brother. What about the squids? D tier brother. Melee enemies break the silo much easier, and you have a lot more of them, so it's not a good combination. You can wear the shield backpack and prevent the ragdoll if it's activated. For overall practicality in a regular mission, not too good, Misoir, for both these factions. Fast recon vehicle. Its main use is beating missions quickly, and for Illuminate, it's S tier. You always have a portion of roads to drive on, and that's the best terrain to traverse. The main obstacles will be fire hydrants that ragdoll you, and crashing into cars that then explode, and those ragdoll you, which can flip the vehicle. The things that can destroy it are stingrays very easily, but just avoid them or try to. Harvesters, the beam hits you, you're toast, but you can drive away from that very easily. Automatons make things a lot more difficult. You can get one shot by bunker turrets out the driver's seat, ragdolled from all kinds of explosions. The factory strider cannon turret can one-shot the FRV. I think the same applies to tanks and tank towers, not for certain. And I believe that war striders can mercilessly ragdoll you as well. Aside from that, though, it's kind of the same thing. I give it C tier for the bots. On the bugs, it's pretty good, but it can be difficult to maneuver yourself and not get stopped by alpha commanders and other bugs that simply body block you. If you do manage that, though, you can destroy all kinds of bug nests. It's really fun. Pop out the driver's side and just start shooting grenade launchers or anything that is a projectile that can close said bug nests. Although you can't reload while driving, and you can't reload unless you're poking out the window, which does kind of suck. Not a fan of that change whatsoever. Also, the FRV does have an HMG on the back that has 4 spare reloads, but horrific recoil. So good luck hitting shots while moving and hitting bumps. On bugs, it's B tier. Autocannon, a long time ago revered as the best weapon for bugs and bots, it has since fallen from grace, a little bit. Currently B tier for automatons, because it has a backpack slot and a stationary reload. Both those things are detriments, especially if you don't make up for it with a lot of power, in which in this case it doesn't. Speargun and railgun are both more powerful, and speargun also maintains utility even more so than the autocannon. So it's just really, it doesn't stack up to those guns at the moment. For bugs, I'm gonna give it B tier, because if you do end up killing commanders, if you're on level 7 difficulty or lower, it's nice, it's a one tap, and it even one-shots alpha commanders. That would honestly not be a big deal. It would be a big benefit since they run away from you guys. A lot of folks don't know how annoying those enemies are, so I'm giving it B tier out of solidarity. Otherwise, I'd put it in C tier. For the squids, it's bottom of C tier. It's a bit wild. It takes 3 body shots to kill a single overseer, and all the while they can shoot you and kill you in less than half a second. It does kill meat bobs in 4 flak shots, which is cool, but other guns do it almost as fast, if not faster. It's also not very great at horde clear. You go into flak mode shooting a voteless, you don't really kill the groups that are dang near bundled up with the friendship rope. They've been lassoed together. Epoch. It's a juiced up purifier with the railgun's charge mechanic, meaning you can explode the weapon if you don't time it correctly, and the timing is more brutal than railgun. But it can one-tap hulks to the visor, gunship engines, and tanks from the back, which is pretty freaking nice. And you get 3 shots per cartridge. Now you can kill factory striders to the back as well with 3 max charge shots, which I didn't know until recently, and that's honestly not too shabby, all things considered. It's A tier for the bots. On the squids, it's D tier. Unless you find yourself really wanting a weapon that can kill stingrays in one shot and harvesters in one shot, and that's the main focus, because it's not particularly great at meat bobs, and it doesn't have a big AoE to be useful for horde clear against voteless. For bugs, it's B tier, since again, you don't have good horde clear, but you can two-shot Bile Titans to the forehead, and you can one-shot all chargers by hitting them in the wagon, or hitting them in the body, and in doing so, they tend to bleed out. Eman Exosuit, the mobile quad cannon. For bugs, it's S tier without a doubt. Go into a mega nest and clear the entire thing easily. The only caveat is the Bile Titan hole. For that, pop out, shoot an ultimatum, get back in, vamonos. You can pull the E-brake on chargers. They're going towards you. You simply hit them a couple times, if not once, and now they initiate their braking maneuver, which this makes you take a lot less damage from them, if any at all, and keeps the mech far more intact. And you just keep spraying and praying until they're dead. I usually go for the legs on chargers because it just seems to be like a faster time to kill. For Illuminate, I'm thinking A tier. You'll kill meat bobs very quickly, destroy hordes of voteless, and kill harvesters, stingrays. Everything you need to kill, you'll take out. Automatons, C tier. You don't be killing too many things that fast, considering how quick they can kill you. It is multiple shots from your mech versus one shot from their turret. It's tough, and small arms fire does kill the mech. Now, before they put cannon turrets back on the factory striders, I liked it a lot for automatons. But now that they have their cannon turrets back, I don't know, Chief. It's a scary time to be a mech enthusiast for the bots. Quasar Canyon, a 3-second charge up time with a 15-second cooling off period. It is B tier for the bots, because you have a lot more enemies to be shooting now. So having to wait to fire your gun is a bit of a downside. Not to mention you get ragdoll behind cover currently, since explosion radius is a lot bigger than it should be. It's a bug that got broken a while back. For the bugs, S tier. You get time to charge your shots, and you can one-tap everything, except for Hive Lords. Illuminate. I'm thinking C tier. What would you really use the Quasar for? To damage a meat bob? I won't even kill him. To kill a harvester? To take out a stingray? Like, doesn't really, it's not necesito. You know what I mean? Grenade launcher. S tier for the bugs. You have the ability to close bug nests. You can mow down tons of enemies. It's good on essentially every single seed it can give you. Hive guard spam, alpha commander spam, bile spewer, nursing spewer, hunters. No matter what, you will have a useful support weapon that could potentially be the best in slot to take on said seed. For the bots, I'm thinking B tier. It does great against the chaff, devastators, Billy Bobs, berserkers, and whatnot, and it can kill hulks from the front. Illuminate. I'm thinking S tier again. You take out meat bobs, voteless, flying overseers, and you can take out stingrays. In that case, it is actually pretty good. It's roughly 3 shots. Takes some practice to land those, but still. Eat 17. You call down 2 expendable anti-tank rockets that are S tier for automatons. On its own, it can one-shot war striders to the jondals or legs, and tanks from the back. And you can take out a factory strider in 2 shots on the back as well. And it enables so many guns to do a lot better against larger enemies. For factory striders, 1 shot to the eye with E17 and a single bullet from HMG, at least in a party, it goes down. A single decently charged railgun shot. 2 speargun shots, and on tanks from the front, it's 1 E17, 1 speargun, 1 railgun, and I think it kind of falls off from there because not many weapons can damage tanks from the front. On bugs, it's B tier, because they're faster, makes it more of a hassle to deal with, but it's still really good at killing Bile Titans in one shot, same thing for chargers in the face. For the Illuminate, C tier. De-escalator, also known as de-escalator, is D tier for automatons. The reload speed alone is absolutely abysmal. It's got atrocious horde clear, and it can kill hulks in 2 shots. It can kill gunships in now 2 shots. Used to be 1. It just doesn't do much, and the CC is not that impactful. On the bugs and the Illuminate, it is in the lowest tier possible. In most cases, it'll just be in your inventory, and you won't be using it that much. Expendable napalm. You get 2 rockets on a somewhat long cooldown that send out napalm shrapnel off of whatever object you hit, and it pulls the shrapnel towards the ground. For Illuminate, it's B tier. When the airships pull up, you can shoot the bottom of it once it actually spawns the enemies and rain napalm shrapnel on everything beneath it. Only particularly good against the voteless and any of the ground overseers, but if you direct hit a meat bob, it will one-shot them, which is cool, but there's a lot of meat bobs in most cases if you're on the higher difficulties, so it's not as useful once you factor in the cooldown. On the boogs, I think it's B tier. You either look for any of the tall structures, hope bug breaches happen next to them. If not, you can still do some otherwise fun stuff, such as one-shotting a dragon roach to the wings. It's not a 100% chance, but when it does happen, it's freaking sick. For the bots, I'm saying C tier. Might be a little generous here. You're going for a dropship to happen. Once it does, shoot the engine or shoot the middle of the hull, and it sends down the shrapnel on all things beneath it. And fire damage does a lot of work versus automatons, and they tend to just sit there stewing in the flames. Recoilless rifle, a weapon that can one-tap everything in the game except for leviathans and hive lords. For automatons, it's S tier. One shot a factory strider to the eyeball or the underbelly when it's getting carried in by a dropship. Take out tanks from the front, war striders to the jondals. Don't go for the torso, it does not one shot there. And the hulks hit anywhere and they pretty much just die. On the bugs, I'm thinking A tier. You still have to be precise on Battle Titans, which is a good thing, but I don't really believe it's a necessary thing to have. Still good, but just use other weapons and be a bit more precise on, let's say, chargers, and you'll be fine. On Illuminate, I'm thinking it's C tier. You do not need anti-tank weapons. It is kind of a waste. Flamethrower, how far? Not very. The range is a bit limited, and I'd say for automatons, it is the lowest tier, mainly because you don't really notice a difference when using it on the tanks, hulks, and factory striders, or even the chaff. They all die very fast to the torture and crisper, which are primary and secondary weapons, so why waste a slot on a support weapon when you can just use those other two instead? For the bugs, I'm saying it's C tier, because you tend to notice a difference when using it on Battle Titans and Chargers. Maybe it's placebo. On Illuminate, I'm again going pretty low. D tier. You get tons of value with Crisper, taking out 50 voltless in a single cartridge. Commando, an expendable rocket launcher that has 4 missiles that do a bit less damage than the average anti-tank missile, and you can guide them with a laser. That can either be active, which is pretty unideal, honestly, or you can laser in a target and then de-scope and fire the missile, and it will hit that same thing as long as it doesn't move. It'll hit the same area, which is freaking fun to do. Truth be told. For automatons, it's A tier. It one-shots tanks to the back, it can one-shot hulks to the visor, it can one-shot war striders to the joint between the legs and the jondal, which that's a bit tough to do, but it's still possible. Against the squids, it's C tier. The main breakpoint I think that folks should know is you can one-shot harvester's joints. On the bugs, I'm thinking C tier as well. I don't really see the point in taking this over the E17, mainly because it takes more than one shot to a Battle Titan's face, and the first one will stagger it, meaning the second one won't land. So you're just wasting more time for no particularly good reason. Laser cannon. It's a heavy pin laser beam that doesn't have too crazy of DPS, and no buildup of damage if you keep beaming the same target. It's C tier for automatons because your sight isn't very good, so hitting a long-range shots ain't that ideal. And you have a spin reticle in third person, which makes it difficult to be as precise as you would need to be. It's also not that great in terms of durable damage. It takes a while to kill large enemies. It's fun to shoot down gunships, and it's pretty fun to shoot hulks in the laser in the eyeball. But if you're moving and shooting this thing, it does have a lot of sway, which is rough for a weapon to be sitting there and accurately targeting an enemy, tracking them. That's why it's so low in the list. On the bugs, this thing is C tier too. I'm gonna go D tier, bro. It takes a while to kill a lot of stuff. And I mean a lot of stuff. It's not great at horde clear for the bugs. It's not particularly great at much of anything, honestly. It can light things on fire, sure, but you're still spending time shooting them to initiate the fire and moving on to the next target. There are primary weapons that do that job so much better. And the TTK on the large enemies is just low. Against the squids, it's D tier. Not good on meat bobs. I don't care what anyone says. It takes forever to kill a meat bob with even like proccing the fire damage and continuously beaming it. And it's not useful on the vote list. There's too many of them. It's okay on harvesters, I suppose, but if they beam you, they're big spoon and you're little spoon. You're getting smoked and rolled, son. Spear. It does the most damage out of all the handheld rocket launchers, but it can't be aimed as precisely as you might want because it's auto-targeting and the rocket comes in from the sky in most cases. For automatons, it is B tier. You can't target a factory strider the way you want unless you're in the most perfect position possible, which is asking a lot. But it does one-shot everything else without having to really worry about where you hit it. Tanks, war striders, hulks, it don't matter. Versus bugs, it's B tier. It one-shots a bunch of stuff still, but there are some issues. Max range of 300 meters, and positioning is a big deal. For Illuminate, it is C tier. There's no real reason to bring it unless you're doing certain missions and you need a easy and consistent way to take out stingrays and harvesters, because in both cases, it'll one-shot stingrays if you land the shot, no matter what. For harvesters, they have a chance to live, which is perplexing a little bit. Wasp launcher. It's an auto-targeting anti-tank weapon that fires up to 7 missiles in quick succession that don't do that much damage by themselves, but you got 7 of those things. 5 reloads in total, which I would say is very freaking low. And that ammo economy is the main reason why it's in C tier for automatons, because it can kill a bunch of stuff. On factory strider side of things, not so much. Takes forever. Everything else is decent. Positioning does matter, and you don't have too much say in that considering it's auto-targeting, unfortunately. You do have the airburst mode as well, and the cool thing is you can target everything that isn't a Billy Bob. So that gives you a lot more room to shoot stuff. For the bugs, it is in the lowest tier possible, and the time to kill for charger behemoths is forever. Time to kill for battle titans is forever. Time to kill for dragon roaches is forever. You're blowing through so much ammunition, and even trying to go for the airburst horde clear aspect on the small bugs, you're waiting for a alpha commander or commander to pull up to be the main target to fire in the first place. For Illuminate, it is B tier. It's one of the few weapons in the game that can one-shot overseers, and you have 7 shots to do that with. That being said, it can still miss. If they're strafing to the left or right a little bit, the shot will go past them and then hit the ground or something, which kind of feels horrible. But you can take out gunships and harvesters very quickly. It also kills meat bobs in I think 4 or 5 hits. Patriot exosuit. You have a 1,000 round minigun arm and 14 rockets in your right arm that do roughly the same damage as a commando. It's D tier for automatons and the squids. Main reason, it's weak. You can get blown up so easily, and both those factions have ranged enemies that do a lot of freaking damage. And your ability to kill them isn't overly high, because you have to be pretty precise to get fast CDK on even the Devastators. And the rockets, they're kind of tough to land. They were a lot easier a long time ago. For the bugs, I'm saying it's C tier, since you're going to be mowing down a bunch of these smaller dudes. In most cases, the minigun will get value there. An issue is you'll get a lot less value in terms of utility, because you don't have too many rockets to be closing bug nests with. You have 14 rockets. Sometimes a mega nest can have 11 holes. Medium nest, or I guess it's a heavy nest, that has 10. That's most of your ammunition for closing those. Airburst rocket launcher. It explodes into a lot of shrapnel, doing some decent damage. On bugs, it's C tier. It does one-shot chargers if you go behind them and hit the wagon. The airburst just shreds that. It also can one-shot impalers if you hit beneath them and the shrapnel hits the mouth. Pretty decent for chaff clear. Reload speed is atrocious, and you get only 7 rockets. For automatons, it is D tier. If you're taking it to kill just Devastators, by all means go nuts, but that's pretty much the main thing it's useful for. It can kill hulks from the back in the same way you would a charger. If you land it correctly, shrapnel can explode and blow up the heatsink. It is effectively useless on war striders, useless on factory striders. For the Illuminate, it is C tier again. It one-shots meat bobs. That's pretty cool and stuff, but then you can't reload it for ages. There's no stage reload, so if you reload halfway and then cancel it, you don't get to start at halfway. And you can't fire it if everything's too close to you. You can get creative, but I think it's a lot more work than it's worth. Anti-material rifle, the AMR, a precision weapon with 7 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, that is fighting you when you're trying to shoot it. It feels atrocious to aim. Main reason is a bug most likely caused by the weapon customization that affects the AMR and DCS. You also have sway issues that occur that just legitimately you don't get to hit shots. I don't know what happened here, but that felt bad. If we ignore that though, it's still not very good versus any of the factions. For automatons, it's C tier, because you still have to be very precise in hitting headshots with a gun that has worse ergonomics than most primary marksman rifles that would do the same thing, but better when you're facing the chaff. On Hulks, it's 2 shots to visor. Gunships, 2 shots to the engine. And Factory Striders, it's roughly 3 or 4 shots to the chinny guns. And killing it, your best bet is going underneath. Full as the bugs and the squids, lowest tier possible. It's fun to shoot though. It's fun to sit there and no scope kill things like chargers and whatnot. Base chargers. On charger behemoths, not fun at all to shoot. On overseers, you do one-shot the head, but they move weird and the ergonomics just don't keep up with it too well. If it wasn't for that, it'd be a lot more useful for the Illuminate and being like a roof sniper. That'd be fun. Arc Thrower. It's a charge-up weapon that can hit multiple enemies, applying stun buildup and dealing okayish damage. The major problem is you cannot choose who you hit initially or where you hit them, which means you don't get to apply the damage properly. And this thing is absolutely terrible for Illuminate. You'll hit Overseers, stun them for a half second, and they're back to shooting you. If you want to kill them with Arc Thrower, good luck. And you can't even stun a Meat Bob out of his charge, no matter what. If he's swinging on you, he'll keep swinging. If he's charging, he'll keep charging. Arc Thrower can't stop that. I think it does stun Harvesters, but the time to kill is ridiculous. You'll two-shot the Snitchbot 9000 if that's your speed. Full of the Automatons, also the lowest tier possible, which I didn't name this video. I could go with Courage tiers. I could go with my leg. I don't know yet. It just doesn't aim for weak spots. If you could at least aim for the weak spot on the very first thing you want to hit, I would like it a lot. Because maybe you could 2 or 3 shot Hulk visors. Instead, you're taking 6 shots, and it actually got a pseudo nerf on accident where it takes more hits to stun enemies. It takes 2 shots to stun Hulks. And for bugs, it takes 2 shots to stun chargers. Which for bugs, it's also going to be low, but not as low. We'll go D tier. I've used it. I've full cleared the gloom bugs. And like it does, you can make it work. The goal of this video is not to say these guns are so low because you can't win missions with them. I've actually said the opposite multiple times now. But it just doesn't feel good to shoot, man. And it's awful on chargers, awful on charger behemoths, awful on Bile Titans. And it's okay on chaff clear for bugs. It's okay. Ish. Stalwart. It gives you the buck naked Rambo playstyle. 250 rounds, light penetration, decent ergo and recoil with a mobile reload. And you don't rely on armor to make it any better because it's already good enough. At least when it comes to the things that armor improves currently. It's B tier against squids. You kill voteless and overseers pretty good. Meat Bobs, you can damage them, you can kill them. It takes half a magazine roughly, which is a lot of bullets. You can't take out stingrays. You can technically kill harvesters. Don't recommend it. And you break shields, okay-ish. For the bugs, I'm saying B tier, assuming you don't get mogged by Hive Guard spam or Alpha Commander spam. If you do, it's not nearly as fun. On the bots, I'm saying C tier. It's fun to shoot. Death recommended in the bot cities because those spam you with Billy Bobs, the really small bots that you can just shoot the body anywhere. If you're actually going for killing them without hitting weak spots, it's not terrible, but it's not great. But if you do go for headshots, it's chill because you don't stagger them, so that means you can get consistent headshots. And you can spam away and still kill them quickly. Now, machine gun. That's where things get a little tricky because you do want to have peak physique. And for bots, it is D tier. Go for a headshot. It's now staggered. If it's a shielded, he will block his face and you can't get the second headshot in a quick succession. So you're just wasting time shooting that guy. If you go for the non-actual weak spots, it takes a while to kill him. So it's like, what's the point in using this weapon in that sense? You can take down gunships, but it's an investment. You can do a few other things utility-wise, but it doesn't really make up for that downside. For the Illuminate, I'm saying A tier because you can take out gunships, take out harvesters, and on bugs, I'm thinking C tier. If you end up facing the things that would make machine gun really good, which is enemies that have medium pen, well, theoretically, right? It doesn't feel good. When you get a bunch of hive guards, you're just sitting there endlessly shooting them, and you're not really killing them fast enough. It just doesn't feel fun to shoot in that sense. It's weird. One true flag. S tier on all factions. Because who cares about gameplay in a video game? You want weapons to be impactful and unique? You can't have that here. We're more focused on lore and immersiveness, and nothing's more immersive than a flag that blocks all of your aim in third person. And you can plant it down, it does nothing. That's my tier list for all the support weapons on all the factions as of this date. Things may change in the future, but for now, that's what I feel. If you got some different feelings, that's cool too. And do understand, I can win missions using pretty much anything on this list, regardless of where it's placed. The things that are super high on the list does not mean they can't get some improvements. Things that are low on the list does not mean that they are unusable. It's just what I feel right now. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and have a good day. Excuse the last 30 minutes. What I meant to say is that every support weapon is S tier. Because after all, teamwork and stuff, or whatever they say these days. Hello, I'm OhDough's editor. If you enjoyed the video, a like goes a long way, and consider subscribing to the OhDough.